Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the Lumière Startup Saturday. My guest today is another remarkable person I met in my journeys. Please meet Rahul Verma. Rahul is the founder of brand Frubon that he and in the last 7 years of his journey has forayed into dairy and different dimensions of dairy, including ice creams. And Rahul, I'm very keen for you to tell us how you got to being here and to tell you tell them also about where it all started for you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Deepa. To begin with, a warm thank you for making me a part of your startup Saturday. Just to give you some background and for the audience, I am an electrical engineer from IIT Bombay, post which I did my MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. I was then a banker for about 10 years, working across various global locations, including Hong Kong, Singapore, and Tokyo. And I moved back to India in late 2013. When I moved out of India at that time, I had never worked in India. I had no experience of doing any kind of a startup in India. However, one thing which was very clear to me was that I have to come back to India, and there were two broad reasons why that thought process was there from day one. Uh, Part of the reason was personal, and part of the reason was professional. On the personal front, I wanted to be with my parents when they grow old. I did not want to have that regret in my life that my parents are not with me when they need me most. My kid was growing up, and I felt that beyond a point, it may be difficult for the family to move back. So when he was 3 years old, we felt this was the right moment to move back. So that was the personal reason. On the professional front, uh, I wanted to always start something of my own. Uh, what what and when, that was an unknown. But I had certain direction from the fact that my father, he's a dairy technologist from NDRI Karnal, and he has spent his entire career spanning 45 years in the dairy industry. And he started the first private sector dairy in Rajasthan. So that gave a very good lead with respect to building on what he had already built, the ecosystem which he
Wow.
had built around the farmers, around the channel partners. That was a good platform to build on, and that is the reason why Frubon came into existence. So those are the broad two reasons why I moved back to India, and why we got onto this journey of Frubon.
How did you rope Rohit, your brother, to join you into this? Or was it something that you had also conceptualized, or the both of you were talking about of doing something together?
So Rohit actually had more clarity than I had with respect to what he wanted to do. So he also
Wow.
wanted to be an entrepreneur. He's also an electrical engineer, and he actually moved back. So he was working with TCS in Bombay, and he moved back to Jaipur a few years before I did.
Okay.
So
Wow.
he was working in the dairy sector as an employee across different departments. He worked in the manufacturing unit, he worked with the sales and marketing team, he worked in the IT department. So he was very clear with respect to building his expertise in this domain, in the dairy domain, and then starting something of his own. It was the two of them who actually roped me in to join them to start to be a part of Frubon, rather than the other way around.
Amazing. So, in this intervening period from 2013 to 2017, what kind of prep work that was happening at the back that eventually led to the formation of Frubon in 2017?
Sure. So as I said, it was basically December 13 when I moved back. 2014 was the period when my father exited from his previous venture, which was a partnership between three different partners, and that entire period was spent with respect to I was practically the banker. They were looking to sell
Wow.
the company, and then we spoke to a couple of potential buyers, both domestic as well as international. That entire deal that materialized in March 2015. In 2015 itself, we purchased the land at Mahindra World City to set up our unit. 2016 went into the preparation around building the plant, getting the machinery, all the capital expenditure, and putting it in a shape. And April 2017 is when the commercial production of Frubon ice cream started.
So that was, really time spent in getting even a very good understanding of the different facets of the ecosystem around dairy for you
Yes.
as well, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely, absolutely. And
y'all could have done anything at that time. So one you said was you were building really on your father's expertise in dairy, but you also decided early on that you would do other things beyond just milk. So how did that thought process sort of build?
so the the basic foundation building block of dairy industry is the milk procurement network, which is the linkage with farmers, who are basically the backbone of the industry. Uh, Rajasthan is now the largest milk producing state in the country. The quality of milk which Rajasthan produces is superior to some of the neighboring states, owing to a lesser use of pesticides, uh, more ethical means, less adulteration. And that was the ecosystem which my father had seen and built over the last 20 years. That trust with the farmers, which goes beyond just buying milk and giving them the money. It went beyond that. There was a certain amount of faith and trust that Frubon, being Vermaji's company, will be fair and transparent with respect to their FAT and SNF testing, with respect to their business practices, with respect to the payment cycle, with respect to know-how that we will get from Frubon around how to keep cattle feed, how to raise cattle. Uh, we also sell our ghee and cattle and high quality cattle feed to these farmers. So that entire building block was is still the strongest strength for Frubon. And building onto that and linking it to products beyond milk. So when we talk about dairy, in the traditional dairy, the most common products would be milk, dahi, and chach.
Mhm.
However, if we talk about dairy, it is now a much more exciting industry, so to say. I'm trying to answer the question which you asked. So dairy today has masala chach, has fruit lassis, mixed berry lassi, strawberry lassi, mango lassi, has different variants of paneer, has different variants of flavored milk, smoothies, yogurts, ghee, ice cream as an entire category. So now there is a lot of excitement and innovation which is going on in the dairy industry beyond milk. And to a large extent, or to some extent, COVID actually helped us.
Uh-huh.
And the reason I'm saying it, because during COVID, there was this thought that rather than drinking carbonated beverages, rather than drinking artificial flavored juices, why not have natural immunity boosting milk products such as chach and lassi? uh, be it dahi, be it paneer, be it milk, all of those seem to be seen in a new light during COVID. These are products which are good for health, which are good for immunity, which are good for kids. That's one part to it. Secondly, uh, there was a visible shift in the consumer behavior from loose loose
Hmm.
products, from loose dahi, from loose paneer, loose sweets, loose mithaiya, to
Right.
packaged hygienic food. So when we talk about packaged paneer, packaged dahi, packaged sweets, that entire shift became very strong during 2021 2022. When I was abroad in Hong Kong, Singapore, we used to go to supermarkets, and the dairy shelves were absolutely exciting. They
Yeah.
used to have multiple blueberry yogurt, strawberry yogurt. They used to have different variants of milk. They used to have different variant, even cheese.
Yeah.
Uh, Cheese in India largely is still about, at least in in most of the tier 2 tier 3 towns are cheese spread or cheese cubes. uh, 10 years back, there used to be 25 different varieties of cheese on a shelf in Hong Kong or Singapore. So we had that exposure. We knew that
Yeah.
dairy will become more exciting. There is a lot which is going on in dairy. It will evolve. It is evolving, and COVID just acted as a catalyst for that. And
Um,
now and today we are seeing entire categories getting built from zero, and the entire category of lassis, which used to be an unorganized segment,
Correct.
is now becoming organized and becoming so exciting with so many flavors which go beyond just the sweet lassi. That we feel very very excited about looking at this entire portfolio beyond just the milk. It's not just about
Yeah.
milk. It
Yeah.
is about so many new categories, so many new products.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you say that COVID, it was a time of challenge also, I'm sure, from a procurement point of view, from the farmer safety, keeping the factories running. So you want to just tell us a little bit about those challenges of, what it was like on like a day in the life of Rahul.
Absolutely. So we did not take a single day break during COVID. It was be it a lockdown, we the factory was running, milk was so so when there is COVID, or when there was COVID, the tourism sector was down. Hotels and institutions were not operational. The offices were shut. However, the cattle population, they are unaware of all of that, and cows or buffaloes, they will continue to give milk every single day.
Correct.
And we did not tell our farmers that we will not procure. We continued to procure milk even during COVID, and that was the biggest challenge. That on the supply of raw milk, it was regular supply, but
Yeah.
the demand side shrunk massively. uh, there were no weddings, no hotels, so this mismatch led to an excess supply across the country.
Yeah.
So the way we addressed it was basically to sell this to bulk buyers who had the facility to convert this milk into skim milk powder. We did not
Achha.
have that. We did not have. So that is how we addressed it. But the bottom line is that we never, not for a day, we were not operational. We were operational. We were at the plant, we were in the market. So that is on the procurement side. So on the market, we view that as an opportunity to
Yeah.
tell the consumers that Frubon is manufacturing products in a very hygienic way.
Yeah.
That we went to different societies, we explained what Frubon is, because we were a new brand, and COVID actually gave us a great opportunity to showcase what we are doing to these consumers. We also realized that being in a unique position where we are selling both ice creams and dairy, we are probably the only ice cream company who can keep marketing even during this time. So rest of the ice cream companies, they stopped their marketing because there was no point marketing during the period when no one was eating ice creams.
Correct.
However, we became very active on social media. We talked about how all of these products help in immunity. We spoke about how our ice creams are pure ice creams and not frozen dessert, and
Yeah.
therefore they are actually much healthier than what you would find in the market. We had innovative campaigns around social distancing uh, as part of our social media strategy. So
Nice.
that was more on the selling and distribution. Finally, the employees, uh, we did not have any HR at that time. So the three promoters, we spoke to each employee at an
Wow.
individual level, telling them that because this is a difficult time, because the revenue is dying, we request you to take a salary cut. We do not want to fire anyone. We would not fire anyone, but if you take a salary cut for the next 2 or 3 months, that will help us survive during this period. And these discussions were done on a one-on-one basis in a very personal manner by the
Wow.
promoters themselves. We did not have any HR or any video recording which went to the employees. It was all very very personalized. So
Amazing.
this is what we did during COVID.
Fantastic. And at what stage did you realize that you were going to have to get somebody on your cap table, need to talk, for money outside? When did that thought come in?
So, so the so my father and the two of us, we have very different thought process with respect to the funding, external funding. The way my father built the previous business was all in house. There was no external funding. It was all loans through banks and then paying down. But as having worked in the financial sector, we were aware that there is something called equity, there is something called VC funding, there is something called P funding, and uh, so we started in 2017. 2017 we had capital expenditure on the ice cream side. 2018-19 we had capital expenditure on the dairy side. 2020 was COVID, 2021 was COVID, and all this while, all the capital expenditure, all the losses, all the expenses were funded out of the three of our life savings. So at
Wow.
some point we realized that we wanted external funding to grow and to survive. It was not
Yeah.
just about, and in 2021, which is just post COVID, we started having these discussions of getting external funding in the form of equity, and so we closed our first institutional round in May 2022. This year we have closed our second institutional round. It was again the it was not just a case of getting money from anyone who wants to invest.
Yeah.
Uh, I feel very fortunate that both the institutional investors we have on the cap table, they understand the business, they understand the promoters, they understand how we operate, and therefore there is a very strong synergy with respect to what each of them together with us bring to the board meeting. So while
Hmm.
there is exposure and expertise with respect to the manufacturing aspect which we bring, uh, one of the investors, Fireside Ventures, they have a lot of experience on the consumer aspect.
Yeah.
So that is something which complements our skill set and helps us become a stronger brand in our journey that we are. So to that extent, we feel very fortunate that we have external investors who are actually helping us become a better brand and helping us grow on our trajectory faster than what we would have achieved using traditional ways of funding.
And what are the risks of not having done that, not doing that due diligence on carefully selecting your investors? Maybe you just want to take a minute.
I think we have many such examples in the current startup ecosystem in India, where certain certain founders, they face a lot of pressure from investors with respect to growing in whatever shape and form you can, irrespective of without having strong foundation, without looking at per unit economics, without worrying about the losses. That is a very dangerous trajectory to take, and a lot of young founders, uh, of actually a lot of founders, they buckle under that pressure, and uh, and uh, and therefore it becomes important to have the right partners on board who understand
Hmm.
what the right trajectory is. A brick and mortar business, a manufacturing business versus an e-commerce business or a quick commerce, each would have, or an IT business, each would have a very, very different trajectory. To expect the same kind of growth from each business or each category, even within dairy, ice cream versus milk versus dairy products versus ghee would have a different trajectory. It is
Hmm.
important for the investors to understand that, and it is important for the promoters to have the right set of investors who have that understanding, or at least the willingness to understand that.
Great. Also, you are in Jaipur. When you think startup, you think Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore.
Yeah.
Did you experience any biases, Rahul, when you were going out for money, that you were in Jaipur, or people's unwillingness to come down to see the factory or come to your office, calling you to, where they are? What was your sense there? Did you at any point in time say, "Oh my God, why am I in Jaipur?"
No, actually, being in Jaipur is a blessing in disguise. Reason being, we are completely cut off from what is going on in Bangalore, or what is going on in Bombay, or what is going on. So there is this whole talk about the funding winter, which we were not aware of when we spoke to Fireside. We had not even heard about them uh, before the first meeting. So the good part is that being cut off from all that noise, we are focused on building the business. So that is uh, on a more strategic level. Ice creams, dahi, chaach, lassi, these are consumed when the weather is hot, when the weather is dry. Rajasthan, UP, Delhi NCR, this is probably the driest and the hottest part of the country. So that way it is good from a demand perspective. The quality of milk which we are getting in Rajasthan is one of the highest that you would find anywhere in India. So there again, it is good from a supply perspective. So from a lot of strategic angles, this is a great spot to be in. From a fundraise point of view, uh, I guess ignorance is bliss. So
So, where is the next 5 years going to be vis-a-vis your? Can I still call it your startup? I don't think so.
we'll always be a startup, maybe. so
So, where are you today, and what is the aspiration, Rahul?
So we we clocked a revenue of about 105 crores last year, which is
Okay.
FY24. Right now, we are present only in Rajasthan and parts of UP. We are in Delhi NCR on certain quick commerce platforms. Right now, the market has so much depth, has so much demand, has so much gaps which we are yet to fill, that if we do a good enough job around just these two or three geographies, Rajasthan, part of UP, Delhi NCR, that takes us from 100 to 1000.
Wow.
uh, so the aspiration is to go beyond that, but at least for the next 5 years, I think our journey is sorted. We know what we need to. We would not be going all over India. We would not be spreading ourselves too thin. We would be focused on these two or three geographies and trying to go deep in these, because we feel that uh, there is we are just scratching the surface right now. There is too much to be done. There is a lot to be done, and we feel very positive about the entire sector, the external factors. I think India. So there are multiple studies which say how low the per capita consumption of dairy products, how low the per capita
Hmm.
consumption of ice cream in uh, in India is, even compared to the likes of. I'm not even going to Europe or Australia, New Zealand. Even compared to Pakistan or China, our per capita consumption is lower.
Hmm. Amazing. So, in this last few years, if there are any moments as a family when you all huddle, what are the big places of, uh, a potential pushbacks that you experience, or you have to really make your point, or you have to convince, and so your fellow promoters, because they are your brother and your father, how is it to work with them, and what are the challenges there?
Actually, I think we are very fortunate that between the three of us, uh, we really haven't faced a situation where we are after each other. The understanding. So if someone has a point to make, I think the other two understand it broadly and go ahead with that. While there may be a different point of view, but that sort of a friction has never really happened.
Great.
There have been instances where the situation did not look too bright. So if I talk about March 2020, that was a really tough month or a tough phase, because the lockdown had just hit in. We had been incurring losses over the last since inception. There was no visibility around where the salary for the next 2 months will come from. So then if one person feels insecure or feels a lack of confidence, the other two act as pillars to support this.
Yeah.
That don't worry will. So that way, there have been
Wow.
many instances where one or two persons have actually uh, become deep. What should I say? They have become a lack of enthusiasm or a lack of energy and feeling demotivated कि चल क्या रहा है. But the third person or the other two persons have actually helped bring that person back to. So
Wow.
that bringing that negativity to positivity and staying positive on every single day since inception and going forward as a group, that is something which each of us has supported each other. It is very difficult for any single person to always stay positive every single day. That is impossible. But then during those dark days, having someone else to back you, having someone else to bring you out of that darkness, is what, as a family, what we have done, I think, remarkably well over the last
Beautifully.
2 years.
Fabulous. We always think startup is young founder. There's a romanticized version that they will have come just out of business school or just after engineering. They probably if it were allowed in, there would be dropouts, but we just hear thankfully only one or two cases, and even that becomes a story. So how do you value the life and the work experience that you got into your journey today as you start this company or in this journey? And what are some of the things that younger startup founders or older people aspiring to start up, uh, what is your take on that, on this whole myth busting opportunity we have here?
So I so an electrical engineer who did an MBA with focus on finance and then worked in the financial sector is now working in sales and distribution around ice cream and dairy. So to that extent, it cannot be said that the past experience per se is helping in what we are building. I think it is more the life experience at each of these institutes, the life experience at IIT, the life experience that I am working with, and talking to other like-minded people, the life experience in banking. Those life experiences is what shapes a person. For every founder, I would say that there are two aspects to success. One is your hard work, कि मैंने मेहनत की, and the other is destiny or luck, which is not in your control. So let's not worry about this. This is like a sine wave or a cos wave. It keeps going up and down. Sometimes you have good luck, sometimes you have bad luck. But this hard work is something which is in your control, which is in our control. As long as we are always in a very positive thinking mindset, and we keep working hard irrespective of how dark the days are or how good the days are, the trajectory will keep moving up. Do not ever give up. Keep moving, keep grinding yourself. Sometime that sine wave will go in your favor, and those are the days when you will not regret whatever hard work you have put in. So it is very simple. Stay positive irrespective of how dark the days are. I cannot count the number of days we have been really worried about the next salary, about the next employee, about the next phase of growth. But we always stayed positive कि कुछ भी हो जाए, चाहे वो बैंक लोन दे ना दे, इक्विटी फंडिंग आए नहीं आए, Frubon will stay, Frubon will grow, and Frubon will go on to become a great brand. That inner conviction
Yeah.
has to be there, howsoever bad the situation may be. That is all it will take. uh, God Almighty will take care of the rest.
Rahul, also,
Mm.
the channel partners that you got, like for example, it's very important to not just as a D2C, but you also have some, you have on ground. So you've got to explore different channels in your category, and they are, each one is very, because it's perishable. I completely missed that point. So what is it that you had to learn and do differently from the logistics slash channel piece?
So you're right that if we talk about ice creams in particular, the cold chain it's a very sensitive product with respect to cold chain. So it is not just about manufacturing, the logistics at each aspect and the storage at each point. So logistics means the transportation from the factory to the distributor, storage at the distributor point, transportation from distributor point to the retailer, and then storage at retailer. The temperature ought to be maintained at each of these. So that would mean having that infrastructure. So what the good part is that at least the retail infrastructure, which basically is deep freezers, that is growing quite rapidly in the country, and that is part of the reason why the industry is growing.
Yeah.
At the same time, the central government, the state governments, they have multiple schemes trying to support building up of that cold chain infrastructure in the country. So Ministry of Food Processing Industries, central government, they have a cold chain infrastructure development scheme which has been in place for many years now, where they provide certain subsidies for investment in cold chain storage, in cold chain logistics. and
Okay.
and I think that entire ecosystem is building on the back of such policies, on the back of consumer demand. And therefore it as a country, I feel quite positive that all of these categories will continue to grow. uh,
Awesome. We've come to the close of this conversation, and folks, I'm sure you've derived a lot of value listening to Rahul. I'm to already thinking I have another project asked for Rahul to say, when are you going to start writing about Frubon? So he'll probably tell me, wait for 5 more years plus 5 more years. So that's what you're probably going to tell. But Rahul, so many lessons over here for us that place just taking everything and looking at it to say, how is this an opportunity? Everything that we have heard Rahul talk about is like the Chinese word for a, a challenge or a problem is opportunity. It almost feels that all the work that you did in Hong Kong and Tokyo and living in the Far East probably has influenced this highly positive, highly optimistic, can do, and hard work being the constant. And he talks about the life being ups and downs, the sine curve, and but not letting it phase. And the other very important lesson I've taken away is, you started knowing that you would come back to India. You would want to be here with, so that clarity of, and no ambiguity, and then doing it when your child is 3 years old, so that he then starts in the school system here, working, collaborating with family, with your father, with your brother, and creating a beautiful and a remarkable company that I invite each one of you to go and study this as a case study. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rahul, for your time, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Deepa, once again for this wonderful opportunity to talk uh, to your audience. I look forward to more such sessions with you.
Thank you. Bye
Sure.
bye.
Thank you. Bye.